This is take two. I'm out here in a park actually in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, trying to do this initial video to start off this journey. My brother ran the Coeur d'Alene Marathon on Sunday, and so we're up here to support him, things like that. But I wanted to do a recap video over a couple of different topics after I do Leadville this year. And so in light of that, I wanted to do some videos leading up to that, of the last 90 days of my journey to Leadville. This is a long time coming. I've wanted to do Leadville again since I did it in 2015. And then my dad actually passed away in August of 2025. And my brother and I both decided to do some fairly significant events just to do something in honor of our dad, who was an absolutely incredible person, incredible father, an example to a lot of people. And so I'll give the story of why I chose to do Leadville in honor of my dad in the next video, but for this one I just wanted to kind of do an overview of what I'm going to be doing over the next 90 days, the videos that I'll do, things of that nature, and a little bit of the backstory. So current condition in August when I decided to do this when my dad passed was a hole that I had to dig out of performance-wise. I've ridden a lot. I did Leadville in 2015. Like I said, I used to race competitively back in the day. Did a lot of cross-country racing, things like that. But with my current condition, after I did Leadville in 2015, I raced through the spring in a cross-country series around Texas. And you'll have to excuse some of the noise. I'm in a park actually in Coeur d'Alene, and so there's some helicopters going around and airplanes, things like that. Airplane went by, but I had a hole to dig out of performance-wise, and so I hadn't ridden really competitively since 2016, and kids came along, and your priorities changed for a little while. So most of my time fitness-wise was spent in the gym, lifting, doing some hiking, not really a whole lot of cardio, things like that. And so I started riding again about 18 months ago, and with the intent of getting back into racing. I wanted to do some gravel racing, things like that. I had signed up for the Valley of Tears gravel race in Turkey, Texas, back in March of 2025. That was my first goal event to try to get back into riding, kind of get my butt back in shape, things like that. That race, I trained for it, was ready for it, so I thought, but it didn't end up happening. The morning of, me and my cousin woke up and to a lot of freezing rain, sleet, snow, things like that. We had about an hour and a half drive to get there, so we didn't want to really risk the dangerous drive up there just to do a race that was more than likely going to be miserable. So we pulled the plug on that one, and then fast forward to October of last year, shortly after my dad had passed away. I did the Cooler Than Hill gravel race in Wichita Falls, Texas. So that was my first race back in over a decade. Was an interesting experience, to say the least. Following up from that, I did the Valley of Tears in March of 2026 in Turkey again. And then 2 weeks later, I did the Rattlesnake Roundup in Sweetwater, Texas. So those were kind of some events that I planned in prep for Leadville to get me back into shape, give me some goal events to push for. Cooler Than Hill went decently well. Valley of Tears went decently well as well. And then the Rattlesnake Roundup, I actually ended up getting third in the XC mountain bike category for the 50-mile race that I did. Training-wise, I had done Trainer Road for quite a while. I did enjoy that. The Trainer Road program was great. We got into the new AI section, and I was using that, and just maybe user error, not really sure what it was, but I just couldn't seem to get things fine-tuned for what I felt like I needed prepping for Leadville. So I did a lot of tweaking with that, trying to get it exactly where I needed it, watch some podcasts, things like that. Ultimately, I ended up making the move over to an actual coach rather than AI coaching, and I'm working with Ignition Coaching right now as of the end of March, right around the Rattlesnake Roundup. So with that in mind, I did do a few gravel races, and right around the 3-hour mark, really 2.5 hours in to each of these races, I ended up hitting a point that I knew was going to be a problem, and I had been using Trainer Road consistently, very strictly sticking to that schedule, and I just seemed to be hitting this point at 2.5 hours each time. Nutrition was getting dialed, things like that. Muscle fatigue may have played into it, but cramping would set in, or muscle exhaustion, things like that, and I knew that was a barrier I was going to have to train through. And so I'll talk to that a little bit more over the course of these next few videos, getting ready for Leadville. I just recently moved to doing about 10-hour weeks right towards the end of March after the Rattlesnake Roundup, and most weekends are spent in a lot of endurance time right now, and so that's pushing me through that barrier of that 2.5-3 hour mark that I've been having problems with, but I'm going to try to capture this journey of the last 90 days leading up to the race. So my process of training through some of these obstacles and the different things that I'm going to have to do living in West Texas, trying to prepare for a race at 10,000 feet in Leadville. So I'll talk about things like my bike setup. I'm a huge bike nerd, and so my equipment, I've been obsessing over trying to get that all fine-tuned for race day, and so I'll be talking through some of my experiences, my prep with equipment, and the different things that I'm going through, such as events leading into race day in August. So things that I have coming up, I'll be doing the Leadville camp in June, and I will be doing a recap video of my experience there, trying to recap the experience at that camp, and then also some of the things that I've learned while I'm there, getting to ride the course again after 10 years. That's going to be interesting as well. And then also in July, I'll be doing the Silver Rush 50 miler in an attempt to, I'm already qualified for the race, but an attempt to improve my start position and do one last race effort before race day in August. So hopefully that goes well. I've got a lot of prep going into that, so I'll be walking you through all of that. And then I'll have a high altitude week during a family vacation we take every summer in the mountains of northern New Mexico. So that I'm going to try to do a pretty high volume week there as well, trying to get prepped for race day. A couple weeks later, I will head up to Leadville to do a couple of pre-rides, do some just acclimation in and around the area, and wherever we're staying, and we'll walk through kind of what's going on that week as well as we prep for race day the week before. So like I said, I'll walk you through everything that I'm doing the next 90 days. Some of that might be some boring, just endurance training, things like that. I'll walk you through my bike setup that I've been going through with a fine-tooth comb for a couple months now, and trying to get everything ready for race day. There might be some tweaks we have coming over the next couple of months, whether that be from experience on course at the Leadville camp, at Silver Rush, whatever the case may be. And then like I said, I'll walk you through everything I've got going, from training to bike setup to nutrition to really just recovery. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I'm 38 now, so it's quite a bit of different journey than it was 10 years ago. So doing all of this in memory of my dad, so I'm pretty hard and heavy into it. So I hope you guys enjoy the video series and stay tuned, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon. All right, thank y'all.